Friends, delighted welcome. I'm Arthur Perkins. This is APGamingREAL. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you've chosen to be with us, so, I appreciate that. I don't know if everybody else does. I think that they do. Listen, there's a lot going on today. There's going to be a pile of announcements, perhaps, but this is Season 4, Episode 3 of this particular show. I went back and watched Episode 0 of the entire show, and I have this to say. I've done a good job of helping my beard cover my double chin since that time. That's what I have to say. Yikes. I went back and watched that first video. I don't know why any of you were here. I had no idea what I was doing with Battletech back then. Several important notes. The first and most important of which is I beat the Jedi Fallen Order, and let me tell you something. I felt like after I beat that, I would never love any game again. Like, even playing Fate Grand Order, I'm like, ugh, this isn't as good as Jedi Fallen Order was. But today, all day, I was like, Battletech stream. I'm gonna like this. This is gonna be exciting. I can't wait to do the Battletech stream. And that's the first time in like 6 months I've been excited, really excited, like all day to do a stream. Because let me tell you, getting through today was a fucking challenge. Have you ever had an email box where you're like, okay, I just got through 10 emails and now there are more emails than when I started? And that's
my every day.
Number 2, there has been some confusion in the community. Do I hate the Owens? Yes. But did I suggest it to Cotton? Yes. It is a mobile multi-profile machine capable of close and long-range support. It very much fits with Cottontail's playstyle, I think, when she doesn't want to roll up in a 100-ton mech and murder people. So while I personally believe that the Jenner is better than pretty much every other light mech out there, beyond like 2 or 3, the Owens is okay. It's no Commando, all right? It's not the bottom of the barrel.
So look, I'll say that historically, the record will show that I was adamantly opposed to your opinion regarding the Owens.
Yeah.
And while I am still pro Owens, I will concede that I did some research, and your opinion is largely validated by the majority of the Battletech internet population. So I will concede that my opinion is not a popular one, or maybe even a well-supported one. But I do like the Owens. I think it's a great looking mech. I loved playing it in the video games. So that's why I am still to this day.
That's the Mechwarrior 3. I mean, that's that classic first mech you start with, I think.
Yes, I will concede to your superior position, but I will stand firmly by my my argument.
I don't know about superior position. I didn't Google Owens, is it good or bad, and then come up with my frame of reference. I chose to hate on the Owens because it's not a pack hunter or a wolfhound.
It's something you said last week was like, it's largely agreed upon to be bad or something like that. And I was like,
well, I've had people contact me and are like, Arthur, you're completely correct. The Owens is terrible.
Yeah. So being a natural researcher, I wanted to be diligent, and I wanted to get to the bottom and know the truth. And now I know the truth, and I choose to disregard it like I do most reasonable things in life. So
was that James that contacted you and said you're absolutely correct, the Owens is terrible?
Probably. Sounds like a thing.
No, James wouldn't do that. He would tell me the profile of the Owens, I would think.
This is the reason why this profile is absolutely garbage.
Yeah, I don't think that he would do that though, right? That doesn't sound like James. James wouldn't tell me that it's terrible. Yeah. He would break down why, like, its effectiveness level versus another mech, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't know. James was very honest about Eldarian being shit at melee. And then if they're facing one specific particular group, they're less shit. So I feel like James would say if something in particular is shit, just shit.
I suppose we'll have to wait for
James.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for James to chime in. I'm sure he'll let us know.
Tell us what you would tell us, James.
I mean, I don't think
the internet wants to know.
Saturday morning, my time. I'm sure we'll get a message from him. Friends, please allow me to pass the introductions off to a man who has been defeated. A man who has known defeat. SidAlpha, I understand that you have recently been dunked on.
Was I?
I've been following on Twitter, and apparently you have been out-eviled.
Oh, that's the running theory. However, the popular vote remains firmly in my corner.
Are you sure? I'm seeing a lot of likes on
I'm
these
seeing a lot more
anti-SidAlpha.
likes on mine. So,
no comment. What do you got going on?
it's been a week of hell at the day job, so I haven't been able to get any videos out whatsoever. In fact, Sunday and Monday, I really didn't even get a chance to sleep whatsoever. So it's been a difficult time, but I did have a bit of a highlight, some good things that I have to say. I did break down and I started watching Star Wars The Mandalorian, and I am extremely impressed. I really like it. I think it's very, very good.
I can't believe Sid likes something Star Wars.
No, something Disney Star Wars. Granted, I still have this pit of dread in my stomach that about 8 or 10 episodes in, they'll thoroughly fuck it up. But until that happens, I'm going to continue to enjoy the ride. I really like it. And I think Gina Carano's character was fantastic. I've always liked Gina Carano as an actress. I think she's terrific. And I think they did a really good job with portraying the Mandalorians in general. And they did pay attention to some of the pre-existing lore there, which was nice. So yeah, I had something good to say about Star Wars. So
I know.
I thought I would share.
I'm
it.
shocked.
I like it. Let's just end your intro there.
Yeah, that's it.
So that-
I'm
all right.
done. Moving along. Before I screw it up, let's move along.
Raddosaurus, speaking of
Yeah.
Star Wars, let's toss it over to you.
Let's talk about this. I like Star Wars. Yep, The Mandalorian.
Wow. Sure, this is shocking news.
Yeah, surprise.
If this is your first time watching this show, that is shocking news.
I also really enjoyed Gina Carano's character without getting into spoilery territory. I'm still not entirely convinced she's a good actress per se, but I think when she's cast appropriately, I don't think anyone can do what she does on camera, if that makes sense. Like when Gina Carano punches a helmeted man in the face, you 100% buy that helmeted man hurts more than her fist does. Like it is, it could not be more believable. Like the fact that she is a legitimate professional combatant 100% plays on screen. Like I don't think any other, like any actress that didn't have that sort of background could deliver 100%. So yeah, I think that the episodes have gotten better and better. I think the show is on like a clear rise. I really can't come up with any legitimate complaints. Especially and like I can't come up with any complaints in general. But then when you consider, they're really kind of doing this first season like on a budget, and it doesn't seem like it because the show is just so good. And I have no doubt that the second season will come and it'll 100% get, blockbuster funding, and they'll be able to do whatever crazy shit they want because it's not like Disney's got shallow pockets.
Yeah, if they keep it on the track that it's on, then they're golden.
Yeah, but if it completes a narrative and it's in the first season and it has a proven track record of being the most popular show in the world, which it is right now, which is insane because it's not even being shown all over the world. Not everybody has access to it. But I did see an article, and I forgot which data collection meta site or company or whatever was compiling this information, but basically it surpassed Stranger Things as the most wanted show in the world.
That's surprising, actually.
Despite its lack of regional play, which is pretty crazy. I think it also, I don't know how true this is. You could definitely fact check me. I could be wrong. I'm not trying to tell you the gospel or anything. I'm just telling you what I heard, what I saw, what I was told. Also that it surpassed Game of Thrones as the most pirated show on the internet.
I was going to say, it would not surprise me if it surpassed Game of Thrones for most pirated.
Yep. So, it's pretty cool. I've been excited about the show. Other than that, life in general, goes on as it goes. New job's going good. Kids are doing well. Not a whole lot has happened this week that is new or exciting for me. Obviously, the holidays are coming up, so we're starting to kind of try and gear up for that. It's still, 70 degrees outside. Generally, I still get hot and sweaty when I step out my front door.
Get fucked.
I don't know how the rest of you are doing, but it's pretty nice over here. This is a nice time of year for us.
Literally freezing outside.
I'm sorry. Our low tonight will be like 51.
I had to break out heavy weighted blankets, 2 of them.
When I wake up in the morning, I might wear a light vest, which I will shed by probably 10 a.m. because it'll be too hot for a vest.
Does it go well with your Texas cowboy hat?
Yes. It's denim, obviously, which I wear over my denim button-up long-sleeve shirt tucked into my denim pants, because that's my dress code for work. Not really. Yeah.
And was it the rope tie?
Yes. The what's it called? Pondo? What's the
a
bola? The bola tie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I always called it a drawstring tie. I know what you're talking about.
I get that. That's a logical name. The only other thing I got going on, I don't know if you want me to plug another Discord during your show, Arthur, but
No, please go ahead.
I have taken a larger role in a 5e play-by-post Discord that I belong to. I'm now a community manager. We just launched. I say they. We just launched our second season. We've kind of broken the narrative up into seasons to prevent people from burning out, and you just need to refresh it every once in a while, because otherwise it almost inevitably gradually becomes toxic. So you gotta stop the train, have everybody get off, refurbish it, and then have everybody get back on for a new adventure. So we just kind of started our new deal. It's an entirely homebrewed setting. If you're interested in it, send me a message on Arthur's Discord or wherever else, and I can come up with a link for you. We haven't started advertising heavily yet, but the Discord is technically open to the public. We're just not advertising it yet. It has 20 to 30 active members right now, and all of our projections are putting it at in between 100 and 250 active players once we begin to advertise. So if you're interested in that sort of large-scale 5e D&D homebrewed setting community, let me know, and I'll hook you up with a link to that. Only if you plan on being a good boy or good girl, though, because we don't want any problem children. Especially
that's exactly what's going to happen.
Well,
I mean, you're going to have to weed them out.
I mean, it's a public Discord, so there are going to 100% there are going to be problem children, but we feel like we've done a pretty good job this season in kind of revamping everything such that there's a very clear process and list of sort of do's and don'ts that will leave us very justified at the point that we have to start removing or banning people, if that makes sense. The guy who runs it is easily one of the most level-headed, even-keeled person that I've ever met on the internet. So I don't know that he's ever actually even banned somebody. Even our most problematic people, he has just talked into leaving and not coming back. And it's worked time and time again. Like, the guy does an amazing job of administrating this Discord. So, yeah, we have a whole creative team that we use to put it all together. The community is very involved in coming up with everything. It's been a lot of fun. It's taken months and months and months to finally kind of get it off the ground and restarted. And now it's just, everything's kind of coming to fruition. Obviously, we're still working out, kinks and stuff as we go, because you always have to do that. Everything is always a living document and changes and evolves as you go. So everybody's really flexible, and everybody's primary goal is to have a good time and not step on anybody's neck so that you can have a good time. That's the gist of it. So yeah, like I said, if you're interested, let me know. But yeah, this week, that's really the only new thing I have going on. So yeah, I'll kick it off to whoever's next.
Let's go with Pondo.
Hi, I'm Pondo. I also want to point out the fact that Rad went to me to ask about the tie thing.
Yeah, I knew my Southern brother. More
not really.
I know you're
really
not.
Southern though.
I know. I just try to give you more credit than you probably.
I knew what it was called. There's a lot of cowboys around this area.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
I lived in the South for almost half my life, but that's fine. Whatever.
You call it the South. You're all Northerners to me. I mean, geographically.
Well, West Virginia.
take offense to that.
Let's be really clear. West Virginia is technically the North. They were so upset about slavery. They were like, "Hey, rest of Virginia, get fucked. We're rejoining the federal union."
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll freely admit my concept of the South is as a Southern Texan is probably very different from what the rest of America believes the South to be. I understand Mason-Dixon line and all that stuff. I taught world history and U.S. history and geography and Texas history, so I understand everyone else's point of view. But I don't know. I grew
They're
up
just wrong.
I'm just wrong, and I'm okay with it.
I said they're just wrong.
Oh, they're wrong to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that they're wrong, Sid. It's just that they're ignorant, and you can't always help that.
Can't believe you included me in the North. I am a Midwesterner.
You are a Midwestern, 100%.
Thank you.
You're north of me, but you are not a Northerner, Cotton.
You're
Thank
all
you.
Southerners to me.
100%.
I am a Midwesterner, Sid.
Yes, Midwesterner and my Southerner actually have a lot in common.
I could be at the Canadian border in 20 minutes. You're all Southerners to
Yeah,
me.
that's yeah. Godspeed.
Oh, hey, listen. If you need me to do a northern accent, I can just get right up there along the Canadian border. Just pretend that I'm a cheesehead, you know?
I could never do that because I'm not exposed to those people. I never hear anyone talk like that unless they're on TV.
How about 10 years of Garrison Keillor doing Lake Wobegon?
Oh yeah, that'll get it done.
Pondo, you got anything else going on?
I really don't. I haven't really done much this week. To be perfectly honest, I've been kind of wondering how tonight's going to go. That's just about it.
Don't worry, I got premium content lined up. I know you guys have all got the scripts that I sent. I mean, I'm railroading the fuck out of this episode, right? I mean, we're talking 12 pages there. You guys have practiced, right?
No.
I mean, we need those natural reactions, the oohs, the ahs, the jump scares. It's got to all seem real.
I won't disappoint. Wait till you see my scripted reactions.
I made some changes to my script.
Okay, drama queen, calm down. He's voice acted one time, and he thinks he can direct now. Come on.
I think he's complaining about the low rolls that he has pre-scripted here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Why are these all 2s and 3s?
He just wants to add some notes to what you got.
I mean, you could have at least tossed in a couple of snake eyes so I could build up for the trophy, but you know, so I did throw in like 2 8s in there. Just
Unacceptable.
So I felt it would make the character more believable.
Unacceptable. Cotton, what do you got going on?
I am Cottontailed. I doodle and stuff. I named my score bunny Hermes.
Cool.
Wait,
Follow
what?
me.
My score bunny.
It's a Pokemon. It's the
It's a
starters.
Pokemon thing. You kids and your Pokemans,
Not
No,
Pokemon.
don't even
your
start.
swords and your shields.
Pokemans.
Also, my cat dropped a mouse on my bed this morning, so that was super fun.
Oh, that's
A
some
live
solid
mouse.
Amore level. Whoa, okay, that's not Amore level content.
Because she like woke me up. She was just like patting me on the shoulder, so I woke up and she was just standing there with a mouse in her mouth. So I sat up and she ran over by Pondo. So I'm like, Pondo, check that mouse and make sure it's not alive. And he's like, oh, it's probably fine. It's probably dead. And he rolled over and went to sleep and she dropped it and it ran under the blanket. And I was like, Pondo, she just dropped a live mouse on our bed. You got to get it. It was great.
She trying to train you? Is that?
No, she doesn't kill them all the way for some reason. She just keeps them alive and then sets them down for a bit. After they stop moving, she's like, "Oh, it's dead." And she'll just set it down and it'll just run.
They stay fresh longer that way.
Yeah, it's better than my other cat, he's passed away now. But a couple years ago, he gave me half of a mouse. He like ripped the head off and just gave me the body, and it was not great.
It's just because he didn't think you were capable of catching food on your own.
He doesn't eat mice. So the fact there was no head was very concerning because I knew it was somewhere in the house.
Okay, that is slightly more, but he still doesn't think that you're capable of catching food on your own, and just wanted to make sure you'd be okay.
Mhm. Well, that's the most exciting thing that happened to me today.
Do we have anything else we need to cover, go over? Any other announcements?
YouTube Rewind 2019 was
I mean, it exists.
really bad.
That is a thing that exists.
It definitely exists. Yes.
I'm trying to buy time for myself because I'm going through all the old Raddosaurus fan art, but there's literally hundreds of things, and I can't find the exact one thing that I need. I'm probably gonna have to keep talking for a while and see if I can find it, and if I can, I'm just gonna have to stop talking and let the stream start. That's happening now.
I got this today.
Hey.
Is that a
was a gift from
Nintendo
my
Switch Lite?
It is.
Ooh, how do
Thank
you
you
like
so
it?
much. I like it a lot. I got a score bunny and I named him Hermes.
I'm jealous.
And that's all I've done so far. And I definitely wasn't doing this while we were talking.
Yes, you were. Your head was down the entire time. It's like when Rad is busy drawing stuff and then pretends that he's been paying attention the
Hey,
whole
I
time.
could have been drawing, you know.
But I knew that you weren't. I knew that you were installing stuff on your...
I wasn't installing anything. I did that before the intros and stuff. I was playing this the whole time.
Okay. All right. I can't find it. I'm sorry.
then I had
Oh,
to
no,
look
wait.
up-
There it is. I found it at the last second.
Is it? Where is it?
Doesn't matter. No, it's fine. It'll be relevant at the end of the show.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking for some, like... It's one of the, like, top 3 pieces. Well, it was one of the first 3 pieces of art you did.
One of the first 3.
Yeah.
My goodness. A veritable classic.
I mean, we're talking back from when you did the Dante Fierro artwork. That's how ancient this is.
That's a pretty long time ago.
Friends, allow me to remind you what happened in the previous episode. Joined by a old comrade of our Solarian gladiators and actors, friends, Mozzie. Our team rounded up on some clan light mechs and managed to wipe out the invaders, capturing 4 enemy Mechwarriors in the process. They have landed on the planet after an orbital assault drop, during which Murder 6's drop pod was slightly injured due to a collision with, an exploding dropship. Now, as you have a moment to breathe, your lances begin checking in. It sounds like you've taken several losses. Your entire air wing has been knocked out. Mechs didn't make it to the ground. Some that landed were engaged by enemy forces and were destroyed. For now, though, your entire mech force is retreating into the city of Marzurka as planned and rendezvousing at the spaceport with your 2 remaining dropships. At this moment, we find ourselves in the cockpit of Black Rabbit. The display of the mech indicates several warnings. Pilot removed. Brainwave scan not found. Black Rabbit is grabbing at her own throat, breathing extremely heavily, and we can see that she's very pale as her mech has entered in standby mode because her neurohelmet no longer recognizes her as its pilot. We can see Heavy 7 outside, like waving in front of her with a mech hand.
So she's non-responsive to my
She's now become responsive after
wildly
a short time.
gesturing. Okay.
Your mech begins rebooting as it starts accepting that your brainwaves are the correct ones for your pilot.
I'm gonna make, like, I don't know. My dishwasher is finished. Beep beep beep. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm gonna make gestures for her to pop her canopy so I can assist if necessary.
Just wave him off.
Well, your mech doesn't have any arms, but you physically wave him off. It's got little missile pods you can.
All right, I'm gonna stare stupidly at her for a while she's trying to wave me off, to just verify that she is in fact not dying.
Correct.
And I'll do it until she gets real irritated and waves really frantically. And then I'm like, okay, all right.
That happens pretty quick.
Yeah. Just so yeah, I'll walk.
Probably flips him off too if he's still standing there.
Uh-huh. So my
She
mech's
flipped him
arm.
off. She's fine.
Yeah. So when she does that, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, you're good. And I'll turn around, and my mech's arm is probably like extended out to where it's kind of face palming the Owens, so that I have a walkway. I just walk up my own mech's arm back over to my cockpit and hop back in. And I'll get on the comms, and I'll assume everybody was waiting to hear what was happening. So I'll tell Harridan she looks like she's okay, but we need to check her out when we get back.
Understood. I open up the comms. Black Rabbits, are you online?
Yes.
Are you all right?
Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be?
Kind of looks around. You did sort of check out there for a while.
There's a system malfunction.
Very well. As soon as we get back to the spaceport, we'll need to get your mech gone over.
It's fine. It's fixed now.
I would still like the Aztecs to
We'll
look
just
over
like
the
turn it off.
Bandito, please make sure that her mech gets checked out. I don't want that thing happening and risking her life next time.
Sure thing.
Very well. Well, being she's back to her usual loquacious self, we should probably proceed on and see what we have left by way of a unit.
So, Black Rabbit, as your mech begins kicking up pace, if this were a TV show, and perhaps even in a theater, and surround sound were enabled, from behind the audience's right ear, we hear Ronan whisper, "You're just like me now. We're the same." And that's when we kick into this season's anime opening sequence. Don't worry, I wrote this one down. We get Black Rabbit doing the magical girl transformation swoosh. That's where your right arm is like down and then you go up like this. As she does it, there's like a flash and her uniform goes up several ranks and she now has a medic's armband. Next, we get McGurk, who's jogging beside some infantry trainees yelling at them, and then he pulls out a little mini hot dog out of his pocket and pulls the plastic container off, and we see a wave of steam come out of it, and he begins, eating it. And we get Bandito at a desk. He's doing paperwork, and every few seconds, like, another person comes in and drops more paperwork off on his desk, and by the time he finishes the first pile, his whole desk is covered in paperwork. And then we get Harridan, drawn in a completely different style than everybody else. Everyone else so far has been like kind of almost chibi style, and Harridan is drawn in that like 90s rigid pencil in style, affixing a half cape over his shoulder with the Lyran Alliance fist as a gold clasp. At that moment, we hear a kind of alarm klaxon, and we get a 4-way split screen of our 4 heroes. All of them begin running towards their mechs. And, it does that thing where there's like whooshing effects in the background to indicate how fast they're all running. And then the screen is just a Centurion that is using its jump jets in order to leap into the air, and then an overhead punch. And as that happens, the jump jet on the back of the elbow activates for a rocket fist. We get an Owens that's running at high speed over a riverbed and just like dodging from one side of the river to the other as missiles are falling everywhere around it, and it is spitting out a tiny red tag targeting laser. We see the familiar Wolverine soaring through the air on jets of fire and then turning midway through, landing directly behind some sort of obscured mech, and then firing an alpha strike directly into its back. And then we see a Phoenix Hawk taking fire from 6 different directions, staggering down onto one knee, and then slowly rising back up and letting out a huge blast of Alpha Strike, from which we see a wave of heat building off of the mech. We then see the scene is just a black background, and there are 4 additional mechs here, but they've all been shaded out, right? As the season goes on and we see these mechs, the anime opening will be updated and they will appear here. And then we get the second page, which is all of the season's villains are all on this page, but again, they're all grayed out until we actually see them. And the final thing we get for the opening, as the one English line in the whole song kicks in, is the Cameron Star, the symbol of the Star League, has 2 serpents entwined around it. One of them is gray and misty with glowing green eyes. And the other is green and kind of a solid metal color with gray eyes. And the 2 of them appear to be battling each other. And that's when we cut to the 4 of you walking your mechs up to your Union class dropship. Rad. The first thing McGurk sees. I'll get through it. I'll get there. The first thing McGurk sees is Billy Wyndham Williamson the 4th Esquire. He is standing at the bottom of the mech ramp. There is a young Japanese woman in the spaceport security outfit that is talking to him, and he's got his hand up on the side of the dropship, kind of like pinning her in place. And when your mech sensors, your microphones begin zooming in, he's like, girl, you know, I'm new to the planet, but I ain't new to the game, you know? Let me just get those digits. You can't go wrong with this package. I mean, we're talking.
Foot appears where he was just standing.
Now he plays it totally cool. He's a mech technician. He's used to mech stepping around him. The woman leaps 2 feet into the air, and he grabs her in the process and holds her, and he's like, "That's right, baby. Nerves of steel. Nerves of reinforced endo steel." She says something to him in Japanese, and he's like, "Well, that sounds real cute."
I don't even know. I'm gonna get my little CB radio mic, or I don't know how people talk to people on their their megaphone, on the outside of the mech. I assume they all have.
Your mechs all have megaphones.
Right?
So you could also, connect your communication system directly to his.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it. I'm gonna megaphone and turn it all the way up to dangerous decibel levels, and just get on there and be like, "Miss, step away from the syphilis-ridden space monkey immediately.
She begins saying
physical
something.
Health is in danger."
She begins saying something in Japanese, and he's like, "Nah, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him."
Syphilis. So much syphilis.
He pulls out a business card holder and hands it to her. And she begins bowing and moving away from him. He turns towards you and makes a very rude gesture in your direction as your mech steps.
My entire mech makes some air humping movements in his general direction.
We still have the same languages that we had before.
Yes.
Did I speak Japanese? What was she saying?
Oh, she was just saying, I'm sorry, sir. I don't understand what's going on here. You're with the Lyran Alliance? And then at some point she was just like, "Oh, thank you for saving me. But syphilis, that's a very serious problem. Look, I have to go, okay? I have to go." As the 4 of you climb down out of your mechs, you are met by Billy Wyndham Williamson, the 4th Heavy 7.
Can we jump back for just a second?
Yes.
Before I climb down, I want to call who's my buddy in the mech bay, right? Surely I'm friends with. Is Baron still there? Am I friends with Baron? Are we tight?
Baron is not on this ship. He's on the Fortress.
Okay.
He has more mechs.
If there's anybody here that I know is my hookup in the mech bay.
Billy is your personal mech tech.
Okay. And does he work on everybody's mech or just
he works
mine?
on your mech.
I want to talk to somebody who works on everybody else's mech.
There is no one who works on everybody's mech.
So there's no mech tech here.
There are mech techs.
Okay.
Each mech is assigned its own tech team of 8
I want to talk
individuals.
to the floor leader or whatever that works
That
on...
is also Billy Wyndham Williamson.
That works on Cotton's mech. That works on Black Rabbit's mech.
Very well then. Yeah, you get a young man. He seems like in his mid-20s. He gets on the communications. He's like, this is operations. What can I do for you, sir?
Due to a combat incident, we're going to need the entire neural record from the battle pulled from the Owens.
I will get it sent to Dr. Assaman immediately.
Thank you.
Yep.
Heavy 7 out.
He waves to you from the mech bay floor as he begins ascending a cherry picker to the top of Black Rabbit's mech.
And I will start to disembark at this point.
I think about 30 seconds later, Harridan does the exact same thing.
The same conversation happens. He's completely nonplussed, like completely level-headed and cool about it.
Then Bandito calls. No, I'm just...
Yes, sir. Of course. The 4 of you are called over to the fortress dropship where your unit command center is. Technically, you could run a whole war out of the fortress, although it would be uncomfortable. You could see in the process that the fortress's 3rd drop strut did not deploy. So I'm going to make another anime reference to Outlaw Star when one of their struts didn't deploy and they ended up leaning the whole ship against the gantry that holds ships up. That's exactly what happened here. The pilot has put the ship down and then leaned it at like a 5-degree angle against a gantry that is meant for like painting the sides of dropships and doing maintenance at the nose. In the process, though, you can see that your tow artillery is all being driven out of the mech. The top of the fortress has been opened up, and the artillery piece, the long tom that is there, has been deployed, although it's at a really weird angle because of the dropship. Someone has been laying down basically like flat slats of mech armor on the far side of the dropship's ramp, because the ramp now doesn't touch the ground. So they're like extending the ramp out so that someone can still walk up and down the ramp. Once you get inside, the command center is basically more or less empty and has a hollow projector in the middle of it. There are about a dozen high-ranking officers, lieutenants, captains, backed up by another dozen non-commissioned officers, senior staff, basically. There was a point when the 4 of you could remember the whole unit being able to fit in a dropship briefing room. At the beginning of the show, there weren't even 12 people working for the unit, and now you can't even fit the whole command staff in here. So, the unit's personal adjutant, Sergeant Major Eva Anastasi, flips her, her weird beret sideways and just takes it off because it's very hot in here once the holo projector starts running. She is a short, small woman, and her military flak jacket seems enormous on her. Like, she's fully weighted down with, like, grenades and ammo packs and bandages, and it just, this huge amount of bulk on her. As she begins flicking name tags to everybody, so these are holographically projected, and they're all just appearing near everyone, and she says, okay, first command briefing for the unit. Welcome, I'm Sergeant Major Anastasi. Let's get started. So, as you know, we have landed, sir, Colonel. The first order of business is whether we are going to use the dropships in offensive operations. Do we want to move them anywhere in the city, or are we holding them here? This is a decision we need to make.
That the first order of business would be to determine what units we have lost and what lances need to be reorganized as a result before we can decide on what will be included in what operations.
Very well, sir.
Correct.
We have lost 6 of our 8 Corsair aerospace fighters. We're down to just a pair of Corsairs with junior flight officers. They are currently being loaded onto the Union-class dropship for rearming. Unfortunately, we've lost most of our bombs when the Wings of the Crow went down. In that regard, sir, allow me to mention that in approximately 2.5 hours, the Wings of the Crow is going to strike the Western Ocean. Well, I'm sorry, it will be striking in about 20 minutes. We will feel the vibration in about 2.5 hours. It's going to push a storm front here. We're going to get about 5-mile-an-hour winds, and it is going to be a cold and dark night. It could be days before the, let's call it, atmospheric interference ends. In that regard, as well, leaving the planet is going to be extremely difficult. The whole upper atmosphere, all of the satellites are being shredded. The only way on or off the planet, probably for the next 20 years, is going to be through the poles. In regards to units lost, we have lost no tanks, no VTOLs, and no infantry so far. We have, however, lost the Hollander and its pilot. We lost our Falconer, Catapult 4C4. I think overall, for a planetary drop, we did fairly well.
Out of character. I may have been slightly distracted by my son. The planet is currently under assault. What's the deal with the atmosphere? I'm sorry.
Okay,
just touch on that
if
again
you'll
real
remember,
quickly.
a dropship exploded in the upper atmosphere while you guys were landing.
Not one of ours.
No, it was yours. It was your aerospace dropship.
It was a it's like a Leopard.
Yes, it's a Leopard
Okay.
CV. So it exploded, and it's leaving a trail of debris, and that debris is hitting satellites, which is making more debris, and now the whole planet is being surrounded by debris.
Why did it explode?
Because it was attacked by 20 clan aerospace fighters.
Got it. And it had one of our Lances in it?
No, it was the troop carrier for 6 of your 8 Corsair fighters.
But so what were the mechs that we lost? The Hollander and the
They were shot
Falconer?
down
Falconer.
while they were shot down in their drop pods as they were landing.
Okay, so they were descending in drop pods.
Yes.
Got it. And those are total loss in character. Those are total losses,
Yes,
pilots included.
One pilot survived, Sergeant Damien Foxfire Miles, pilot of the Catapult, managed to eject from his drop pod.
Do we know his current whereabouts?
Yes, he is being picked up by a VTOL and being brought back to the city.
And was any degree of the dropship evacuated?
No.
So are you currently tallying it as a total loss?
It is a total loss.
Understood.
I can't find the Falconer on our mech list. Or no, I can't find the Hollander.
The Hollander is in 2nd Mech Company, 2nd Lance.
Oh, we must be looking at different sheets here.
I will send it to you on Discord again.
I have it. I had it open. I was looking at Rad's list.
Okay. She says, "Sir, with that knowledge, we need to know whether we are moving the dropships out from this location or not. We're offloading all troops just in case that is your decision. If not, then we're going to need to secure the spaceport as soon as possible."
We're going to need a base of operations, so to my mind, at first thought, it would be a good idea to secure this spaceport.
So at this moment, Rapier steps forward, and as he does, he steps forward, and the background kind of has that blue holographic interface haze, and it slowly changes to a warmer tone, and all of a sudden, he's outside, and we're in a flashback to 3058 in the lower left-hand corner. Behind him is Butch McGurk, and he's standing in front of a table covered in explosives. And he says, "Now, there are 100 of you who have passed the recruiting process for this unit. You have, all of you, individually, killed for this unit, and you have passed your rite of blood and earned your crow cloaks. But if you want to remain a part of my unit, my Pathfinders, you will need to become a more excellent warrior. It is not just about discipline. It is about opportunity and seizing it. Each and every one of you will need to be checked out on an elemental suit, on jump infantry suits, on hover APCs. Every day, for the next year, we are going to be jumping off of this cliff. And he gestures to the cliff behind the Countess's mansion. And he says, you're going to be jumping off in your elemental suits. You're going to be jumping off in your jump infantry. And you're going to be jumping off in your hover APCs. Sometimes you'll be outside of the APCs. Sometimes we're going to simulate a failure on your suit. The Countess has graciously allowed us combat divers who will assist you if you fail. Fail enough, and you are not in this unit. You will return to the home company. You will continue your great work with this unit, helping refugees, helping rebuild after the assault by the Steel Vipers, going on parades. I'm sure it'll look great. But if you want to be a part of this Pathfinder company, you will need to be able to jump off of things. This is your new god. And he holds up a block of plastic explosives. You can kill a man with this. You can kill a mech with this. You can put it in a satchel and attach it to a mech's knee joint. Each one of you will need to be checked out on using this, this, and this. You're going to learn how to lay pop-up mines. You're going to learn how to dig mech-grade pit traps. And the whole time, Warrant Officer McGurk here will be shooting at you. Not only will you be jumping off this cliff, he will be firing on you to simulate an enemy landing invasion.
I pull the charging handle back and let it go with my giant fuck-off machine gun that I have in my hand.
Warrant Officer McGurk is a former infantryman who was good enough to warrant becoming an excellent mech warrior. And he has been serving with our colonel for almost 20 years. If you are not good enough to dodge his bullets, you are not good enough to be in my unit. If I find one scratch on my elemental suit, I'm going to make you clean that thing. And then you're out of my unit. Warrant Officer McGurk, do you have anything to add?
There's like a big chain coming out of my machine gun, and it's loaded with rubber bullets. So I just lower it down and point it at the whole crowd of recruits and say, go, and start shooting them all with rubber bullets.
They all begin jumping off the cliff.
If you can dodge a wrench.
So we cut back to the present, and Rapier says, sir, I think it's time for me to cut in. I'd like permission to freely deploy my Pathfinder company around the area. I believe that we should infiltrate the local population, begin emptying out buildings, begin preparing traps, and setting up an early sensor net system. I know that Major Gray is going to want to talk about seismic sensors, but I think the eyes of an old man on a tall building at the edge of town are going to pay out a lot better than a buried piece of machinery.
Why not both?
Both is good.
Well,
See?
if you have a seismic sensor lying around somewhere, I'd be glad to have it, sir. I'll see if I can scrounge any up in town. For that matter, I'd also like your permission to use the dropship Marines to secure the spaceport so that my men are not burdened with that task.
Yes, that was going to be my recommendation, that if we were going to be securing this area as our base of operations, then I want everything surrounding us to be turned into the most horrific killing field you can possibly create.
Absolutely, sir. That is my job. One final note. It is not clear to me what we are doing with clan civilians. I do not expect there to be many on an inner sphere planet, but should we find any, I know that our orders are to detain or eliminate any warrior caste personnel. If I find any clan loyalists, what is the disposition of my forces?
I believe we should just detain them for now, and then our superiors will deal with them later.
So he nods and opens up a satchel and pulls out a fat wad of Comstar bills, Karita bills, and Clan Karanskis, and begins walking outside and just like throwing them at other elementals and jump infantry soldiers. He's like, all right, boys, remember mice. Let's go do this. So your
I should
adjutant,
take care of that.
Sergeant Major Anastasia coughs and is like, and back to the briefing, sir. If we are going to contact our jump ship, we will need to either send an aerospace fighter to one of the poles or take one of the dropships off as soon as possible. We don't have the resources to defend it, and the clans haven't attacked it yet, but they have the capability to do so at any time.
Do we not have any comsats available?
She shows you a picture of what's happening in the upper atmosphere, and she's just like,
Right. Forget I said anything.
It's basically like an O Fortuna moment where like there's just a wave of trash overtaking the entire planet like a gripping claw. We could get one up there for maybe 4 or 5 more hours, sir, but after that we're gonna lose it permanently.
Well then, what are the chances that our jump ship will be in danger for the time being?
100%, sir. The clans definitely outnumber us in aerospace assets. They have at least 6 active fighters left.
We should send a fighter up there to the pole and have them communicate to have the jump ship get out of orbit.
Why
Considering
is
the jump ship will be...
Why is the jump ship not remaining at the jump point?
It pirate jump, sir.
Why is it not remaining at the pirate point?
It is, sir.
Okay.
There
was a little confusion there because somebody said that it was in orbit, which makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Well, it is orbiting the planet, sir. It's, less than a day out, but it is perfectly undefended. Got a few lasers.
Well, we should devise a time schedule for it to jump out. And then
That will take at least
in.
1 week, sir.
All right. Well, is there anywhere that this jump ship can hide out in the meantime?
She looks around and like no one has an answer to this question until Prince kind of saunters forward. So everybody else here is wearing the traditional military outfit, right? They're wearing either Mechwarrior fatigues or infantry something. She's wearing the old style naval dress with a coat and a fancy hat. And she's got a boarding sword, and she says, well, sir, if you want to get real dangerous, I suppose we could hide it in the trash band. We could have them go into the upper atmosphere and have them try to stay just above it.
Well, if the jump ship is in danger of destruction, what exactly are we going to do with 2 fighters versus 6?
I don't think that anybody's that good, sir.
Then what else? Does anyone have any other recommendations for the jump ship? I mean, we could go there and warn it that, oh, your inevitable doom is upon you, but I'd prefer to save the jump ship if at all possible.
So someone that we haven't seen before just goes, I think that we should prepare the jump ship to surrender rather than risk its destruction.
Who said this?
It's the captain of the Fortress dropship, Commodore Rayev.
Do you believe that we would get it back after we surrender it?
I don't think we're going to get it back now.
Out of character, this is our company's dropship, right? We own this?
Yes.
Or the jump ship?
Jump ship. It's
Yes.
a company jump ship.
You own all the assets.
We need to... What's your reasoning behind this? Surrendering this asset to the enemy? Explain.
I'm hearing reports, and we haven't discussed it yet, but it sounds like these clanners aren't fighting like clanners. And that concerns me. Now, clans don't normally shoot on jump ship, but they don't normally run away. They don't normally engage in physical attacks or gang up on targets. Now, we can either risk it being destroyed, or we can chance maybe being able to get it back later.
My understanding, retain power enough to be able to make an extra emergency jump if necessary.
If the jump ship had a lithium-ion battery, which it doesn't, it could. It could also try to do a trickle charge. Use its engines to overpower its Kearney Fuchida drive and make an emergency jump away. The faster you do the charge, the more chance that the ship is lost in an eternal hellscape, stretched out at the atomic level for all eternity. An agonizing death of infinite sailor doom.
What was that
Cheery,
option of
aren't we?
hiding it into the?
Yes, so when you say that, Prince steps forward again and puts her hand on her sword and is just like, yes, we could lower it into the upper atmosphere. It would be difficult, but if the pilot is good enough, they'd be able to hide it in the band of destruction. It would be hard to detect. We wouldn't be able to get any messages to it, but we could just tell them after a week to pop their heads back up and we'll call them. Assuming we're still here.
Now, you're saying hide in the wreckage that's currently happening. Is it the wreckage that's currently happening right now?
Yes.
Is that? What are the chances of that wreckage affecting the jump ship?
Pretty high.
Okay.
This is an extremely risky plan.
Yeah, that's okay.
What about other celestial bodies in the system? A small moon, an asteroid, or something?
There are other planets in the system, sir. I mean, this is the third planet from the sun. But jump ships don't have a lot of drive material. It's not going to be able to get away very quickly. That's a long transit time between planets. Still, every second it's heading away is another second that a clan fighter needs to chase it down and then return. Could buy us time on the ground.
Where are the clan starfighters based at?
When you say that, Sergeant Major Anastasi, your adjutant, steps forward and says, "We believe they're basing out of the Planetary Command Center. That's where we saw them landing at. But, sir, I would assume that they have dispersed landing fields and resupply points all across the planet. We don't have clear intelligence here."
My suggestion for right now is that we take our two fighters we have left and have them go with the jump ship. And they can just attempt to fly away from the situation and have them come back in a week's time.
You could tell that both the dropship captains are opposed to this. They aren't going to say anything, but they're opposed to it.
Speak up. Speak your minds.
Sir, Prince says, stepping forward again. She's taken like 3 forward steps now. She's basically in the center of the room. Leaving ourselves without any aerospace defense means that we're going to give them complete control of the skies. Bombing runs, strafing. We'll have nothing. We don't really have a lot of anti-aerospace mechs. It's not like we came down here with a Lancer Rifleman.
I need an option, people. I can't just accept that we're going to lose our jump ship just because.
Sir, we could try the trickle jump. It's risky.
Which is the riskier option, the debris or the trickle jump?
Commodore Rayev and Captain Prince both come to different conclusions.
Excellent.
Prince believes that the trickle drive is more dangerous, and Rayev believes that flying through the upper atmosphere is more dangerous.
I think in this situation, we should let the captain of the jump ship determine what he wants to do. Should inform him the options: surrender, trickle jump out.
Let's send a fighter up to communicate with them their options. The captain knows her jump ship better than we do. They can make the decision on which choice to make.
As you say this, you can see that your adjutant is pulling somebody up on the hall of communications, and there is a Canopian cat girl with cat ears and a tail climbing out of her aerospace fighter. And then she gets her orders and she hauls herself back in and begins pulling tabs out of her fighter and is just like, "All right, refueling, ready to go, sir." Your adjutant takes back control of the meeting, as both of your dropship captains are dissatisfied by this answer. And she says, "Sir, there are several other immediate concerns. There are a few thousand Buddhists and Order of the Five Pillars members, and even some former Comstar Blakists asking for religious sanctuary at the spaceport."
Are we the only group on this planet at the moment?
Yes, sir. Our orders are to hold this clan force here,
Okay.
so that the rest of the assault can't be reinforced by this unit, the enemy unit.
All right. I was just wondering.
I will admit, everyone, I'm not exactly thrilled about the idea of allowing in such a massive influx of people that could almost certainly contain infiltrators in their midst.
I think the most troublesome ones would probably be the Blakists.
When you hear that, there are several people that gasp, like you just said, like you just said something really racist, like, yeah.
We have had issues.
That was in my
script.
That was in my
Did
script.
you just say the B word?
I was a little late though.
Yeah, when you talk shit about Word of Blake, there are several people here that you're sure are true believers, right? They're like, oh shit.
We've had issues in the past where the whole group of people with the Word of Blake have betrayed the entire planet. Though they have also helped us in the past. It's very 50-50, in my honest opinion.
Sir, I don't need an option now, but we aren't going to be able to hold them there forever.
I'm not averse to allowing them within the city area. They will have to be categorized and logged and processed. We'll have to do our best to identify anyone that might be potential infiltrators, and they are not to be allowed within a certain distance of any sensitive areas.
Shall I pass this information along to Mr. Rapier?
Yes.
All right, the next problem is a local supply chain. We don't have one.
That's not surprising.
Are there known local assets that can be acquired? What's our intel on availability?
It's been 7 years since the Draconis Combine has had communication with this planet. We know that there is a mineral extraction factory here. Other than that, we have no recent intel.
What are our resources to recon potential assets?
We have a Pathfinder company, and we have 2 aerospace fighters, one of which is currently being sent into the atmosphere.
Well, sounds like Rapier's going to be very busy.
We could always send out the Owens or the Ravens, sir.
I can go out in the Ravens if need be, or just send the Raven.
Those are our 2 fastest movers?
Well, those are the stealthiest movers. I could also go in with the Wolverine as well. I do possess the ECM as well.
Next up, sir, we're attempting to find local contacts who might be friendly to us. We're broadcasting a message from the coordinator of the Draconis Combine, Theodore Carita, indicating our purpose here. However, apparently none of these people have ever heard of Theodore Carita being the coordinator. The last time they had any knowledge, Takashi Carita was the coordinator. They also don't believe in the Second Star League. We have had one answer from someone named Okami Kiri, who represents the Kai organization, who would like to meet with you. She claims that she's a local businesswoman.
Businesswoman.
She is allowing you and one bodyguard to meet her limousine, which she has parked outside the spaceport waiting for you.
Well, anyone interested in meeting the Yakuza with me?
I make a cheers motion with the hot dog that I have in my left hand.
Very well.
Before you go, sir, I have 2 people on the books wishing to speak with you before you go. Your liaison with the Federated Commonwealth, Lieutenant Collins, and your brother-in-law, Commandant Marsden, both wish to speak to you at your earliest convenience.
Wait, who was the first one again?
Marissa Collins. She's the person that you're supposed to go to whenever you have to use the black box to contact your mission headquarters.
Would the liaison be willing to speak with me?
She pulls aside like her little lapel microphone and says, "Yes, sir." Also, the paperwork has been piling up on your desk. People are wondering where they're going to sleep, what they're going to eat, and what the ammunition system is
How
around
long
here.
would it take for our fast movers to reach the mineral refinery?
We're talking for the Raven, maybe 8 hours out, and then back.
So one full tone is what
I don't understand, sir. We don't do... that's last season. We got a new system this season. I wasn't even here for that, sir. That's before my time.
Well, Bandito, you recommended that you wanted yourself and Black Rabbit to go scope out the mineral operation. Is that correct?
I could, sir. Ultimately, I can speak with the liaison first.
Well, given the amount of time involved in that, I could probably handle all of these meetings and be done, hopefully, by the time you got back. No guarantees, but possibly.
I want to put out there that as a workable timetable, we can initiate all these operations within the next 6 hours. That allows time to recover and reset. Bandito can lead a mission out to the mineral refinery. I would recommend that you take at least one heavy hitter, possibly Legionnaire and his mech, as he moves at roughly the same speed as the Raven. You'll lose your element of surprise, but you'll be more prepared should you encounter any conflict. That's your call.
Take the Wolverine.
Well, yeah, I'm saying I understand that you'll take the Wolverine, the Raven, and Black Rabbit may accompany you in the Owens, which are all of our quiet movers.
Yeah,
but if you encounter any significant resistance, I mean, just consider that at your discretion.
Does the Legionnaire even have an ECM? That's the issue.
Well, Legionnaire is the name of the pilot. He pilots the Huron Warrior, which does not have an ECM, but is a medium mech that's more than capable of bodyguarding along your side with the other two light mechs. Like I said, you'll lose your element of surprise. You'll gain extra protection. It's a trade-off. You can decide if you want it or not. It's just my recommendation. I'll reset and rearm for our diplomatic mission to the businesswoman.
Yeah.
While this is happening, the Sergeant Major is busy breaking up the meeting. And as she does so, she shoulder checks Black Rabbit, and no subtlety level in it at all. Just like, even though she's much smaller than Black Rabbit.
I just push it down.
What the hell?
Like, yeah, oh!
As you do, we cut to a flashback of you, Black Rabbit, just standing next to a bed. And someone puts a hand on your shoulder in a darkened room. And we can see that you have a scalpel with blood dripping off it. And they say to you, "Doctor, don't worry about it. It was inevitable. There was too much damage." And when we turn, we see that the person is Ronan. And she says, "You're just like me now. We're the same." And you wake up, and we see that this was a dream in a flashback. And we're back on Kolovrati. And, we cut through you going through the morning routine. You're in the mess hall, and we see on the local holo flat vids that it's like a shitty, sleazy Hollywood report. It's like the Countess in 3 different dresses, and then also like a pantsuit. And the narrator's going, "And here's the Countess, the most eligible bachelorette on the whole planet. Now in her mid-30s, still single. but making waves in all of the high society. The second most eligible bachelorette, Selena Lockwood, a complete enigma who's on and off the planet, but word within the unit is that she's dating the local executive officer, for whom she shipped a very expensive Christmas gift for. This is the Sleaze Report, and I'm Harold Sleaze. We then cut to...
A little on the nose, Harold.
I mean, look, I could call it the Drudge Report. We then cut to Black Rabbit settling in. I'm gonna make an assumption here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you actually wear your doctor's coat when you're doing your doctoring?
Yes.
Okay, so it's Black Rabbit, still in uniform with a doctor's coat, setting down, and Delta comes into the room and says, I'm so glad that it was you that I got to meet too.
Hey, Delta.
I've been having some problems in the unit, and I was just hoping that I could find someone to talk to.
What's wrong?
Well, it's a really long story. So let me just cut very quickly to the important part. The rest of the unit is upset because I slept with my sister. Now let me preface this. As a clan warrior trainee, it was totally normal for us to fight together, sleep together, live together for the first 18 years of our life. And sleeping together was encouraged by our trainers. This just, like, it fast forwards, it continues on and on and on. The whole time, Black Rabbit is just like, what is going on here? He goes into incredible detail, and we get to the end of it, and he's just like, so it's really a matter of companionship and emotional support between us. But I told some members of my Elemental Pack unit, and they seem like they're very upset. I didn't realize that this was such a problem in the Inner Sphere. Is there something I can do to fix this problem? I said that's how you actually act, too. You're just like...
Yeah, she's just like, did you explain the cultural difference here?
I did.
Is she your actual sister? Did you come from the same parents?
We don't have parents. We were born from adjacent test tubes.
Why don't you tell them that she's not your actual sister? She's your
We're
sister.
clones. We have
that.
the identical genetic code.
Tell them that. Yeah, nope, clone sounds worse. Don't do that.
I already did that.
Okay.
We cut back to the present, where Eva is on the ground, and she's just like, I'm sorry, ma'am. She starts pulling herself up off the floor. Didn't see you there.
I'm so sorry. I didn't see you either.
Harridan's staring lasers at both of them, but not saying a word.
Heavy
Maybe
Seven
he
is
was also doing the same.
Heavy Seven is trying really hard to decide if he shouldn't just push the woman back down as she tries to get up, because it would be funny.
Heavy Seven, someone taps you on the shoulder.
Turn and look.
This is your unit's quartermaster, Sophia Meinred, call sign Cargo. She's holding out a boxed gift for you. It's gift wrapped with a little bow. She says, sir, I just found this in the cargo bay on the Fortress dropship. It's apparently for you, but went on the wrong dropship. It's been hand delivered from the Magistry of Canopus. It must have taken years to get here.
What do you mean it was hand
for
delivered?
explosives?
Yes, sir.
When he says that, I take it and I fucking shake it real hard.
You
good.
hear something go click a click a click a click.
Oh shit.
Doesn't sound explosive-y. It just sounds like there's something inside it shaking.
Oh, okay.
Well, plastic explosives could make that sound.
Great, you just broke your new gamepad.
Hopefully, it wasn't an animal in there. It just got shook.
Congratulations,
Well,
you
if it took
played
years to
yourself.
get here, I also hope there's not an animal in there.
Sir, I can't confirm there is not an animal inside.
You can?
Yes, I am the quartermaster of this unit. I am capable of doing my job.
Thank you, Quartermaster. I appreciate it. I may have more questions later.
Absolutely, warrant officer. He just leaves at that point.
Doesn't know anyone's name, just calls them by whatever they address themselves as to. Thank you, mechanic. Okay, I'm just gonna tuck it under my arm for now. I'm not gonna open it in the middle of this meeting as it disbands. I'll wait.
Okay.
I'll
So
wait till
which
a little bit
party do we want to follow first? Technically, Bandito is supposed to be chained to a desk doing his executive duties of making sure everyone has a place to sleep and food to eat, but it sounds like he's hot to jump in a mech. You do have a staff that could handle some of this for you.
I like take the
I'm sure the staff
not
can handle
incredibly
all the
urgent
and all
stuff
of that.
with me in my mech as I try to do it at the same time.
Yes, running a light mech at maximum speed is the perfect time to do your paperwork. Okay, all right, just gotta sign this in cursive real quick.
While
Just
signing
imagine this
paychecks.
light mech
check
going
this
like
box.
110 miles an hour, and he's gonna.
He's got like an iPad trying to do like an Excel spreadsheet of like billets.
Why does this one person get 6 beds?
All right, I'd like you to make a roll real quick. The first out of mech roll of the season.
What am I rolling?
Administration, is that a skill? Something along those lines?
I do not know. I do not remember.
I'm sure I can figure this out. Where is the list of skills? Scenes, character creation.
I mean, it would probably be leadership. Yeah, because there's no administration.
Sure, I'll take leadership.
Okay, I got a plus.
Can I aid?
No, because you're doing other things at the same time.
I got a +3.
Okay.
11.
That'd be 11.
Well, you know what?
I've done this before.
Well, I don't know that you've done this specific thing before, but you do manage to complete your secondary paperwork. And it sounds like the people that you're leaving behind will be capable of making sure everyone has a place to sleep and eat and ammunition for their gun. So you and Selena set off. We'll come back to that later when it's relevant and you're being shot at. What are we doing with Harridan? I mean, it sounds like you got a couple of meetings, including going and meeting with a totally legitimate businesswoman.
Well, we need to make contacts on the planet first, so we'll go meet with a totally legitimate businesswoman first.
I don't like the way you say that.
Yeah, so on that note, immediately following the meeting, Butch goes back to his room and kind of offloads some of his piloting equipment and starts doing a layout for what he's going to take with him on this diplomatic mission. And in the process, he will open his package on his bunk without any caution at all. He'll just open it.
The package is a single black data disk. Whatever is on this is not labeled.
Okay, I'm going to plug it into something. Do I have like a burner iPad or something that I can?
Sure.
That I don't. It's not connected to the network or anything.
Yeah.
You know, I turn the Wi-Fi off and put it in airplane mode. Yeah, I put it in airplane
jump
mode.
ship mode.
Yeah, jump ship mode, and I plug in this data chip to see what's going to happen.
It begins loading up, and it asks for your personal identification, like for you to swipe your driver's license, essentially.
I just like rub it on my face, or how does this work? I'm sure my character would know how this works.
Yeah, you have a personal identification card. You could put it
Yeah.
in there to like unlock the system.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, as you do, it says verified. And then like a little 3D projection of a woman that you don't recognize, except maybe seen her in a couple of unit photos before.
Mhm.
She says, "Welcome, warrant officer. I don't think we've ever met. My name is Molly, and I've prepared a special course for you. I understand via my contacts that you've been having some trouble finding your purpose in life, and I believe I've discharged my duty towards Crow's Black, but I still have friends there. So I would like you to get the first premium copy of this new system. And then she is replaced by Kenneth Cross, who pulls up a chair and sits down and says, "Welcome to the Kenneth Cross Legacy
I roll
course.
my eyes so hard.
This is meant intentionally and primarily for senior, non-commissioned officers of a mercenary unit. Legacy is important. You can probably name at least a dozen mercenary units, although there are hundreds out there. What sets these dozen apart? Is it their size? Is it their wealth? Or is it the legacy that they pass on? A senior, non-commissioned officer is the only member of a unit which has the kind of mobility to speak with both enlisted men and senior staff, carry out the wishes and goal direction of senior staff, present it in a way that enlisted men can understand. This course, in 3 parts, will line out how you can ensure your unit legacy lives on." As he says that, fireworks in the background, American flag waving, a Free Worlds League logo shows up. He stands up and puts his hand over his heart and says, "Welcome to the Kenneth Cross Extreme Unlimited."
I turn it off like halfway as he's doing his little outro. I'm like, all right. And go back to doing what I'm doing. I'll save it for later.
As you're turning it off,
They'll go back and check it out, but he just like pauses it.
you can see at the bottom that there's a note that says it's no longer the Kenneth Cross Extreme Unlimited Foundation. It's now called the Selena Foundation.
Okay.
Okay. What diplomatic items are you bringing on this diplomatic mission?
So
I mean, I don't know that you're like Cotton here and that you're walking
Full
around with like
combat
a
armor,
rocket
chain
launcher. Listen, we haven't talked about it with the audience, but Cotton was like, "Can I have 3 different anti-mech weapons?" And I was like, "You know what? Whatever. I don't care."
all right, so this woman knows that she's meeting with a mercenary commander and their bodyguard. So I'm going to dress like a bodyguard would dress. I basically don't change clothes out of my mech gear. I remove some of the cooling vest components, but essentially, refer to the art that I did for my character recently on Arthur's Discord. I don't know if you put up on the screen or not. I don't know.
I haven't yet, but it's part
Okay.
of the art roll on the battle.
Okay.
page.
So, so essentially I kind of designed it to be like an armored cooling vest, sort of equipment package that a mech warrior would wear in their mech, but then also have at least a minimalistic amount of protection should they find themselves outside of their mech on a battlefield. So he basically doesn't change clothes. He just removes some of the tubes and stuff that he knows he's not going to need because he doesn't need the cooling components active. And he'll, he has kind of a conservative kind of, I don't know what the Battletech models are, but like an MP5 style submachine gun that he'll sling on a back and a sidearm that he'll put in a thigh holster. And he has an extra like thigh holster with a firearm in it that he basically always has ready to just hand to his commander, so that it's one less thing his commander ever has to worry about. His Harridan never has to go, all right, let me go to my room and get my shit and get dressed. Whenever they show up a place, Butch just hands him what he's supposed to have, and he just puts it on. And like that they've worked together for so long that they know each other well enough that that's just an expected thing. Is I have my shit, here's your shit, let's go. Because he knows that Harridan's dealing with a whole separate basket of eggs at any given time. So he always takes care of his loadout. He has like the MREs packed for a snack on the way or whatever. He doesn't know how long this trip is going to be. He puts the emergency first aid kit in the back of the trunk of the vehicle that we're going to be taking. He has like the extra.
They're providing a limousine, so
they're okay. Well, then he has a duffel.
Okay.
That he has all that stuff in.
Sure.
And yeah, so that's it. That's what. And then I wait at the limousine for Harridan to arrive.
Harridan, you have a couple of people that want to meet with you on top of this totally legitimate. What do we want to do?
We'll meet the totally legitimate businesswoman first, and I will send the chick that tried to shoulder check Black Rabbit. I'll send her as an errand boy to let the others know that I have to deal with a prior engagement. As soon as I am finished, I will see them in church.
Well, she's your lieutenant, so this is literally her job. Yes.
I also, before Harridan arrives, I want to talk to the limousine driver.
The limousine driver is a Asian, probably Japanese man, 5'4". He's wearing a cheap suit that's very loose, a yellow dress shirt, and he's staring at you, and he looks over and says, "I'm gonna need to check that bag."
Where are we going?
Doesn't matter where we're going. Aren't you just the bodyguard?
Doesn't matter what's in my bag.
He holds his hand out for your duffel.
I just look at his hand.
Well, I mean, when you look at his hand, he's missing 2 fingers on his left hand.
Okay. I stare at his gimped ass hand. Where are we going?
What are you looking at?
Your hand. You just held it out for me to look at.
I need to see what's in that bag.
I need to know where we're going. I'm the bodyguard, like you said.
Colonel Harridan, you come up as this discussion is going on, and this guy is just like, "I need to see the bag," and pat both of you down.
What do you expect to find?
It's not about what I expect to find. It's about what you have.
You can see what I have.
He turns towards you, Harridan, as if he's done dealing with not just a clown, but the entire circus.
Yeah, Harridan's standing there with his sidearm and sword on opposite sides of his hip, wearing his concealed flak armor. It's like, where are we going?
I mean, he sees you wearing the gun and the sword, and he points at the gun and says, "I can't let you bring that."
Then we're not going anywhere.
I take the gun off my side. I unzip the duffel bag and I
Tell
shove
your-
the gun inside of it.
Tell your
Zip it back
boss
up.
she can come see us and she can bring her gun. Or let us get in the car as is and tell us where we're going.
I mean, make a streetwise check.
Oh, God. Now I have to open my sheet from
This
somewhere.
is literally what it is. Criminal underworld dealings and avoiding dangerous missteps.
I mean, I think everyone here knows that I'll kill this guy where he stands.
That,
Oh, yeah.
I assure you, that would be a dangerous misstep.
To be honest, when Bandito heard that Begurt's want to go with Harridan to see the
You've got
business
a
people,
plus
he was a little
3.
bit worried.
What is it? This is a
You got a
charisma?
Charisma,
charisma
streetwise.
Streetwise. Oh, yes, a +3. Thank you, Sid. I was looking at it, but you are such a...
It's because
A
I
better
used the
spreadsheet
same.
looker.
I used the
Yeah.
same spreadsheet, so I just.
I know, we're
fired
looking
over
at the
to you.
same thing. But, where's dim dice? These red dice right here?
There's dice all over the place. Use whatever you
Okay.
feel like.
What's the button? Is it R?
Yep.
Roll. 5.
I've
So,
zoomed
10.
too far away. 10. 10 total.
Now that the gun is in the bag and you're flexing on this guy, he reaches behind his back and pulls out 2 hoods, and then he looks at Heavy 7, then he looks at the hoods and stuffs them back in his pocket and says, "Fine, we go." And he loads you all up in the limousine and begins driving you there. In the process, the soundtrack switches over to like Asian fusion gangster rap. There's a very serious beat going on, but traditional Japanese instruments are providing all of the other parts of the melody.
I take full advantage of not being hooded and pay very close attention to where we're going.
So you leave
As
the
car
spaceport.
pulls away, you hear me say, "So where are we going?"
He
And then the Japanese music starts.
he ups the divider between the front and the back, and then the divider turns black so you can't see up front.
I know he can still hear me, so I say, "What a dick."
So while you're watching, you're driving through the spaceport district. You reach a road that is not ferrocrete laid. Like, this is not a major highway. A mech couldn't walk on this without shattering everything in the area. The street is like a mech leg probably wouldn't fit in this area. We're talking Chinatown, old school. There's no lighting here that isn't provided by a flame. With the cobblestone here, it looks like you walked into 1500s Japan, basically. We're talking steam pouring out of almost every eatery, people walking around in peasant clothing. It doesn't seem like it's cosplay either. Like, people just live their life like this here. And he stops outside of a place that both of you recognize it. Like, you spend enough time at spaceport bars that are multilingual to recognize the word bar in Japanese. The sign is a crimson flag with gold kanji labeled bar, and that's it. The name of the bar is Bar.
Does any of this have the vibe of this one time when we were with this unnamed doctor in a
Yes.
van?
Oh,
and
well,
okay.
that doctor was
All right.
very named. I mean, if you'll recall, during that situation, he met an armed man who was like, "Come with me," and he was like, "No," and the guy was like, "Come with me," and he was like, "No, I shoot him." It's like that, except instead of shooting him, you went with him.
I haven't shot anybody yet.
It turns out that when gangsters say "get in the car," they don't mean argue with me; they mean get in the car.
Is there such a thing as like a personal transponder that I could have? Like, could I have my?
I mean,
could I have
you have your cell phone computer combination.
my phone
thing
is turned on to like, I'm sharing my location with Bandito or somebody back at the.
Absolutely.
I have somebody monitoring us, essentially our location.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, you could even keep an open mic on you.
No, not doing that yet.
All right. So
I'm sure they would probably scan for that, and if we did that, they probably wouldn't take kindly to it.
outside of the bar, two more men, cheap shirts, tan dress shirts. At their sides, they have a belt from which hangs a butcher's cleaver. They indicate for you to go into this bar, which actually seems more like a tea house. There's an immaculate Western style wood laminate bar, but every other wall in this place is rice panel, steam again coming out of everywhere, lots of jasmine or black tea smell. And you're taken into a back room. More and more guys show up in cheap suits with huge butcher cleavers escorting you in. You reach the back room, and there is it'd be hard to place her ethnicity. She probably seems Central Asian. She's got kind of deeply goldenish skin. She's not pretty or handsome, but she would be said to be striking. Kind of like high cheekbones. In the specific light, her eyes kind of seem to glow amber. Gray and silver hair that very long over her shoulder. She's wearing a kimono which she's left open over her left side and has a wrap band around her chest. Everywhere else you could see she's covered in tattoos. At least one of them is of some sort of mist forming itself around a panther or a jaguar and putting a collar on it. There's a lot of criminal ideology here, though. I mean, there's a church with 2 towers. There's 4 stars. There's a number of skulls. She takes a hit from a hookah and says, "Colonel Harridan, welcome to Albiero 3.
Hello there.
I'll admit, I have never heard of a Lyran Alliance or a Star League. So allow me to be surprised when our ancient enemies penetrate deeply into traditional Combine territory and attack our current enemies. Would you perhaps like to sit down and explain your purpose on our planet today?"
Oh, believe me, no one was more surprised. You were not the only ones that were surprised. Oh, you weren't speaking about the clan. Were you speaking about the clanners or us?
Oh, we were quite surprised to see the clans when they arrived, but we are equally surprised to see you. Please, sit.
Of course. Well, to catch you up on current affairs, I believe from my understanding, you've been about a bit out of touch with the rest of the inner sphere for the past 7 years.
That is correct.
Well, allow me to catch you up on a bit of current events, and I will extol the tale of everything that's happened in the inner sphere for the past 7 years.
I stay standing and kind of excuse myself from the immediate conversation, such that none of them are standing behind me.
All of her men leave except for one guy who stands directly next to you.
Okay.
And just fingers his butcher's cleaver.
Yeah.
And then looks over.
Is it on his right side?
It is on his right side.
Okay, I stand on his
left side.
I stand on his right side.
Oh, you want to be on the same side? Okay.
Well, it's a lot harder to attack from the side that you draw
Yeah.
from than it is to the
Mhm.
other side. So he's on my left, and I'm on his right.
Okay.
And so I wrap up the story with, and so here we are, attempting to oust the clanners from this planet and from a great many planets and push them back where they came from.
My contacts at the spaceport report that you only have so many mechs available. The clans have more mechs than you.
This is true.
Clan mechs are better than your mechs, yes?
To a certain extent. A lot of advances have been made in the past few years.
Do you believe that you can defeat the clans here?
We've defeated superior numbers against the clans before.
Find that
Vastly
highly
superior
questionable.
numbers.
I am willing to extend the embrace of my organization to aiding you in your time on planet. If I say that it is all right for people to deal with you, then local businesses will deal with you.
I appreciate that. And what would you be expecting in return?
I have a list. Individuals who, during this occupation of our sovereign territory, who have been traitorous, helpful to our enemies. I would simply ask that you allow my people to remove these cancers.
Well, any collaborator of the clans going missing for any reason, I don't think would necessarily bring a tear to my eye.
Do you know what Dogeza is?
No.
Okay. It's basically bowing to someone on all fours. She bows towards you, placing her elbows on the ground. And the guy sitting next to Heavy Seven kind of gasps. And she stands up and rattles something off in Japanese. And he replies by saying, hi, Shinku Kirikai. And leaves the room, leaving the three of you alone.
I'm going to be quite honest, I'm not quite sure what's happening here.
I have given my people permission to begin the operation to excise these individuals.
Very well.
I expect that when I call you, I will receive priority communication.
Crow's Black doesn't forget its friends or its allies.
My organization, the Crimson Mist Society, we are what remains of the Combine government here. And we intend to rebuild when you have defeated the clans. But you should be warned that the clans here are brutal, and they were prepared for your coming.
It's not entirely unexpected. We tend to always fight an uphill battle against the clanners, but know this, we don't come here as conquerors. When we leave here, we leave when the clanners are gone, and your people and your government can take over, back over, and rule as you had before, if that is your wish.
Yes, I have seen your message from Coordinator Kurita.
Well, then I'm glad we understand each other. I look forward to working with you.
Do you require any entertainment, Colonel?
I don't believe so. Unfortunately, the day's job is far from over, and I have a great many other meetings that I must attend to, and we have the clanners to attend to as well.
Butch clicks his tongue in the corner. He's like,
My men can provide you with herbal medicines, local folk remedies.
I would request then that you speak without doctors, because that would be
These are not the
quite
things
helpful.
that
Thank you.
your doctors would prescribe.
I am sure, but any aid that can be of assistance would.
I would be
be
super
greatly
clear.
appreciated.
She's offering you drugs and alcohol.
Oh,
Yeah.
The good stuff.
well, under certain conditions and certain circumstances, there are a great many forms of narcotics and everything that do have a legitimate medicinal purpose as well for painkillers and things of that.
That is
sort.
not
So
why she's offering them.
I know that's not why she's
Okay.
offering it, but
She's like, "Do you need some CBD oil, perhaps?" Or
Oh, wow.
I have an acupuncturist that might be willing to, you know.
several talented masseuses.
Well, no, that is part of the entertainment she's offering, right? But you're turning all that down.
I can't partake. I apologize.
As you're doing that, Heavy Seven, she's like nodding her head whenever Harridan isn't looking and like indicating you to go in the next room.
I give her the.
If
I
you
know
head out
Harridan's-
there,
Yeah, I know Harridan's armed, so I head out there.
well, I mean, he has a sword. When you head out there, there's a
I gave
guy.
him a gun.
It's in the duffel bag.
It's
Oh,
in
yeah.
the duffel
Put it
bag,
in
and
the
you
duffel
have the
bag.
duffel bag.
I dropped the duffel bag by his chair when I.
Okay. I mean, there's a guy that's just got a ton of Karita bills, Kerenskys. I mean, it looks like he has his drugs divided between what's legal and illegal. Like he's got various tea bags, narcotics, heroin, marijuana, and then like different. It's obviously alcohol, right? But it's listed as like herbal remedies to get around clan, medical laws.
Yeah, I'll give the guy standing there like, a professional muscle to professional muscle nod, and I'll wait for some sort of signal that it's okay.
I mean, he just says, "What
take stuff.
do you people need?"
The ability to become drunk at a moment's notice.
So he says, "How many people are in your unit? 100?"
He thinks in his head of just himself and says 10.
You have 10 people in your entire unit?
I have 10 that I'm willing to allow to partake.
He looks at you strangely and he says, "We will have a pallet of 100 bottles prepared and delivered to the
Acceptable.
spaceport."
And a couple of these funny little tea bags too.
I mean, are you pointing at actual bags of tea?
You said he had tea bags, right?
Yes, they're actual bags of tea.
And then these tea bags.
I just want to make sure you were grabbing the tea bags and not the drugs.
No, not the drugs. He
Okay.
doesn't go for any of the hard stuff. He just wants alcohol, and he thinks maybe the tea bags might be
I can
laced with
imagine
something fun.
some
He
really
doesn't know any different.
confused
He'll be-
Yakuza later. They're just sitting there going, yeah,
Yeah.
he wanted like 100 bottles of booze and like
and tea.
4 tea bags of jasmine tea.
Like
It is
case of
jasmine
black
tea.
Yeah.
I mean, he just hands you 4 bags by holding the little tag at the top and hands them
I
to
take
you.
it. I'm like, yeah. He doesn't know they're regular tea, so he just puts them in a cargo pocket.
He looks at you and says, "This is regular tea.
Yeah,
There
it
is nothing in it."
Yeah.
That's the most 15-year-old thing you've ever done.
I just bought like an arugula salad, and I'm like, all right, let's gonna have a good time later.
Get the old bag of oregano.
Yeah, bag of oregano.
So high right now, guys.
Yeah.
We cut to Black Rabbit and Bandito. The two of you. Let's talk about pacing. How fast are you going? Maximum speed?
Probably my maximum speed, but like jogging pace for her.
Okay. About 2 hours out of the city, you begin getting intermittent contacts at the edge of your sensor range. I think you both have the most advanced sensors possible. You begin picking up air raid warnings. It'll show up for a couple seconds and then it'll disappear.
Is there any way I can like air raids on us?
Yeah, I mean, it's just tracking an aerial threat that has entered your combat space, and then it
Okay.
leaves.
Okay.
Aerospace fighters at the edge of your sensor
Would
range.
you like to try to resolve this problem? There's a skill roll you can make if you're interested.
I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. Well, I now know there's definitely aerospace fighters overhead, probably actually watching us. Ooh, I don't know what I do.
I mean, one aerospace fighter is probably enough to engage both of your mechs.
Well, I can't really physically hide our mechs.
That's correct.
So if he sees our mechs, he sees our mechs. But if I don't know. I guess see if I can make ourselves scarce sensor wise.
Interesting. Why don't you make a intelligence tactics roll?
Essentially, what ECMs do, except more.
Are you both engaging your ECMs?
I figured we would have them engaged the entire time.
Add a +3 to this tactics roll.
Okay.
Damn, I'd have a +10 to this.
I have a +5, +3. I have 8. So.
Well, that's real good for you. Don't hit that SidAlpha numbers.
11. No, actually, it's way more than that.
That should be way more than 11, friend.
That's 14.
I thought I had 5. No, I have 4. Yeah.
So for a little while, you think that the aerospace fighter has lost your position and then is trying to triangulate your position by figuring out where its sensors go bad. It's like playing games, trying to triangulate your position by where you disappear off of where its ability to have sensors disappears off of. But after about an hour of you continuing, in a zigzag line towards your target, it leaves your sensor range. It just can't keep up with your evasion. You're not even halfway to the target yet, but you have been spotted. What would you like to do?
I think continue pressing on at a slower pace.
Okay.
Keeping an eye out. If we see more activity, start heading back.
Can you make a tracking roll? I'd like both of you to make this. Intelligence tracking.
Yep, I got +5. A lot. 14 for me. It's just your intelligence.
It's these red dice.
Any dice. And bring in more dice if that makes people feel better.
11.
Black Rabbit, your sensors are on the fritz, and you do not detect enemy threats around the same time. At the edge of your sensor range, Bandito, you receive some... And it's because you spend all of your time looking at your seismic sensors. You're detecting multiple... At first, you think it's some sort of 250-ton super mech, but it resolves itself at the edge of your sensor range into a star of medium mechs. It is headed directly towards your last known position, which means they're going to miss you, but at that point, they'll be behind you. They're coming in relatively in front of you, but they're going to pass you at an angle. There is a possibility that they might run into your position. They are about an hour out.
I'd recommend us going either north or south, depending on what cities may be nearby our current position.
The only city nearby to your position is the one surrounding that factory.
Is there any sort of wetlands or anything that can we can hold out and hide for a little bit until
there's a coastline along the eastern highway that you're following that you could disappear into. It's kind of like a boggy marsh situation, but it's also freezingly cold.
That would be bad in our mechs.
No, I mean mechs love it cold, man.
I was going to say is I don't know if that's really a problem for us in our mechs to hide into.
I'm telling you how it is. I'm telling you local environmental conditions.
Yeah, I'd say we go over that direction to hide out for a little bit.
So you are not pressing forward anymore. Your plan is to hide.
To hide, let them pass, see that we're not there, and then go back. And then we'll head back to the base.
Okay. As we go on break, I'm going to tell you what happens. The two of you are exchanging real close communications. Black Rabbit, you get his plan to wait for the mechs to pass you and then come back. They never come back. They keep going towards the city. They're now on your path of return.
Excellent. Is there a way for me to send communication out to?
You'll give away your position.
Yeah.
Your mech will still be hidden, but they'll know that you're behind them.
So I'm confused. They were on their way out to this refinery?
Yes, a unit came out from the refinery and is passing them because
Right.
they're relatively hidden,
And they're
and is
jumping
now
the bushes.
making their way back towards your spaceport city of Marzuka.
So do they have eyes on the refinery?
They do not. They're not even halfway to the refinery yet.
Okay.
I would say we probably need to head back.
You're
Do you
gonna
know how much of a threat 2 aerospace fighters are to a fortress dropship?
Well, it's
minimal?
not 2 aerospace fighters.
It's a star of
light mechs.
medium.
Or medium to light mechs.
Yes,
Oh, okay. I missed that.
you were spotted by aerospace fighters.
Yeah.
Unknown how many number, but you definitely are tagging a star of medium X.
What's a star is not a lance, right? A star
It's
is
5
it's
instead of
5
4.
lances.
5 and 4.
Right. Okay.
Oh, just wait until we get to you fighting the comm guards in season 8, and they do 6-person units, but they're all mixed. Like 4 mechs and 2 aerospace fighters, or 3 mechs and 3 tanks.
Thanks, I hate it.
And they all have C3I systems so that they can all tag. It's amazing. Yep. And they can all hide behind one mountain and let the scout fire the missiles over the top. Yeah, we'll come back to this in the second half, friends. Looks like the light mech squadron's in a bit of a pickle. What will those Duke boys do when they return? It's about this time that Harridan and McGurk return, and Assman comes rushing out towards McGurk and is like, "Where's Selena? She's not fit for duty. I'm looking at these brainwave charts. There's a serious problem here. Her mech needs to be checked out."
She's on duty.
Well, she's not clear for duty now. If my name's not Dr. Assman, okay?
Well, it is. And
Well, my
okay.
name is Dr. Brian Folstov, but my call sign is Dr. Rat. She's not cleared for duty. You need to recall her immediately.
Okay, submit
That
a
won't be possible. They're on a scouting mission. No communications.
Sir, there's a serious danger to her health on this mission. I strongly protest
recommendation?
in all medical terms, which I
Okay.
know because I'm a real doctor.
You protest what?
Everything.
What do the tests show, Doctor?
It's unclear. I'm going to need to run more tests.
Well, if it's unclear, then what?
Look. They're on mission.
What's
out
the
of
reason for
communication.
pulling her from active duty?
There was an issue with her brainwave scans.
You'll have to be more specific.
Well, sir, your ability to keep your mech standing upright requires the gyroscope to be linked to the human brain. That link was disrupted when her brainwaves entered an unusual pattern. It's not clear to me whether it was the mech's machinery or her brain, but either way, they disconnected briefly and caused her mech to go into a standby mode.
What do you recommend? What's your current recommended course of action?
My current recommended course of action is that she be recalled from active duty immediately. I object to any course of action that is not that.
Object. Got to right.
File your objection, Doctor. They're on a mission right now where if we communicated with them, we could be placing them in even greater danger than that.
Very well. He pulls out his compad. It goes, Major Vincent Gray. I strongly object.
Thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have, well, several meetings that I have to get to.
All right. We'll be back to
Two.
those meetings.
I walk off in an opposite direction.
I assume there's a hot dog in your hand.
No, is Pavel on this boat?
Pavel is on this boat. We'll talk
Okay,
about it
I go
after the
find
break.
Pavel,
All
and
right.
we'll talk to Pavel after the break.
We'll be back in about 8 minutes, guys. See you in the second half.